Aliens are here.
Aliens are supposedly here, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if the aliens are just...
observing?
No, I was going to say if the aliens are man-made aliens or whether they're real aliens. I would like to think they're real.
Man-made aliens. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah. Pretty cool thought, those man-made aliens.
Wouldn't every human being on the planet just be a man-made alien if we're just fucking and conceiving?
What if we are the aliens?
We are aliens. Two aliens.
Did we come from here? We don't even know that.
I don't think so.
Right. What the fuck do we know?
I don't think so.
We know nothing.
We know nothing.
Welcome to our podcast. I'm Daniel Hollick, your host. My co-host, Justin Seal. And we're here to tell you that we're smarter than you. I like it.
I just watched K-Pax.
Oh, I just rewatched. I like you rewatch these bizarre movies all the time. I need to hang out with you more.
I just rewatched K-Pax. I'm dating a younger woman, so
yeah, you support Kevin Spacey. I see.
What?
He fondles.
God.
You sick man. You sick son of a bitch. I'm just kidding. I like him too. I'll tell you House of Cards.
Who's the other guy? No, the other guy was even better. Fucking
in K-Pax?
Yeah. The other main actor, huge fucking actor. He's the dude. He's the fucking dude. The bowler, the dude. He's
Jeff Bridges.
Yes, Jeff Bridges.
Big Lebowski.
Yes, Big Lebowski. Yeah, he's the dude. He was amazing in that shit. But Kaylin never saw it, so we rewatched it alone right after. No, she watched it for her first time. I rewatched it, and it had.
Have you seen K-Pax, Josh?
No.
Well, you ought to. You'd really like it. Actually. That's like
it's
Josh.
Dude.
That is Josh.
Holy fuck! That is you.
How so?
Right after
because
the news,
you don't really know whether the guy is fucking on crack or whether he's an alien.
Yeah. So he claims to be an alien.
Yeah. And it's like borderline the whole time, and he's got some really interesting fucking information.
Yeah.
That's like, how do you fucking possibly know this?
He convinces the psychiatrist that he is legit, not from fucking planet Earth. And everyone else around him and shit goes down, and it's a beautiful movie. And we watched it right after the news came out of
this is a good segue, by the way.
Where was it that this space?
You saw something on the news. Iran?
Thank you.
No problem.
I was going to say Hassan.
Sounded a lot like Jim Carrey there. Hassan on the news.
I was just going to say Hassan.
All right.
So
Iran, you saw Iranian, the ex-Iranian was defense minister or somebody?
Space guy.
He was an astronaut for Iran. Yeah. Iran doesn't have a space astronaut, do they? Sorry.
Josh, come on, man.
Insensitive? No, okay, look, Josh.
There, then. Help us, dude.
Josh, come on, you got a computer.
Yes, Iran has a space program.
They do have an aerospace program. Okay. It involves making airplanes. Okay. That's a quality laugh right there. Justin just let out a real laugh.
That's all they do is make airplanes.
That's it.
They're just trying to get into the sky. They're not trying to leave.
They're trying to consult with the Wright brothers, but someone they fucking died. All right. Living in the past. Here we go. Okay, so, no, in all honesty, let's rewind for a second. You were saying that you saw something on the news.
Yes. Saw something pretty interesting. Kind of interesting. It felt like a repeat of many old articles over every fucking year since, as far as I can remember. But there was an official, government official that came out from Iran and stated that aliens do exist and that we have been in cahoots with them over a number of years. And that there are American presidents that are very aware of the situation.
Justin,
what have you?
I'm telling you, I'm so fucking excited to talk about this right now.
Okay, cool. Let's
get
into
aliens, man. You're in my zone right now. Okay, so watch out.
Oh, bring it.
This is my jam.
I've been waiting for this day my entire life.
Okay, me too.
Literally, I've been waiting to go home because I don't think I'm from here.
Yeah, you're one of those guys.
So
you're a starseed.
I mean,
have you heard that term, starseed?
No.
Have you, Josh? Yeah, of course Josh has. Although he makes that face when he fucking hears about starseed. Yeah. Josh, what's a starseed?
Well, I actually just watched a abduction/UFO documentary about this. It stated that they were organisms used by like outside life to seed life on a
Was this
given
Stan
planet.
Romanek?
Yes, and periodically check in on them.
It's an interesting story.
It got really creepy with the phone stuff.
Yes, the phone calls. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you watched that because I want to reference that shit. Justin's got to watch that though before we get into that. That's got to be fair. I've seen way too many of them. I'll be honest, but I come out with I think with a very open mind. I think. Yeah, no, honestly, I believe that aliens. Let's just get straight into it, should we? Why cut the bullshit here? People want to listen to what we think.
Get in.
If you want to listen to what we think this. Well, I think this. I think that aliens very well may exist already, yes, on this planet even. I think it's likely that they are interacting with some level of our government. Yeah, how crazy is that? And I do think that if you don't have any experience kind of looking this stuff up other than kind of seeing little things on YouTube,
a lot of people are afraid.
I will tell you this right now, though. If you want to know, I think a great way to kind of start is to listen to some of Dr. Stephen Greer's work.
He cries a lot.
Sorry?
He cries a lot.
Yeah, well,
he's an emotional man. It's great. I don't blame him for being emotional.
The man has a lot of very good information. I find that if you listen to his like older stuff, the newer stuff, he's like obsessed with trying to meet aliens now. But if you go back a bit, he's got a lot of very complex information on how it's compartmentalized and how it's hidden and how it's not like basically released to people like us. I think the biggest problem, if you would agree with me or not, you can tell me, is that people are like, well, if there are aliens and if they're here and whatnot, like what is the point of hiding that from us?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, there is this sort of fear of the unknown. And when it comes to extraterrestrial life, that is obviously something that has never really been talked about or explored or studied. And it's fucking scary to people because immediately the idea that they have in their mind is, movies and for the most part,
Independence Day.
Yeah, right.
War of the Worlds.
For the most part, aliens, present themselves in this Hollywood way that they're fucking coming to take over the world. And
Stephen Hawking kind of planted that seed too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that just out of sight, out of mind, they just don't want to talk about it because in their minds, in their opinions, and in what society has manipulated them to believe is that they are a threat.
You think they're a threat?
No.
First of all, Justin,
Absolutely.
you believe in aliens?
Yes.
You do?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
100%.
And we're going to get into that in a second. I do as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say that it's extremely likely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
I read a series of books.
I'm going to say I haven't met an alien yet, so I can't say with certainty, but I can damn well say from what I've seen, read, and kind of researched for myself, it looks that way.
Right.
It does.
Right.
I do think that people look at UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and they, kind of came around, I think, back in World War II, came to more of a prominence with the whole Foo Fighter thing. Did you know Foo Fighters was the band Foo Fighters is named after like UFOs? They used to call them Foo Fighters back in World War II. Did you know that? Little piece of information for
Kurt Cobain's bandmate, right? Foo Fighters. That's
I don't know if it's Kurt Cobain's bandmate.
yeah, the main singer,
The main guy
for Foo Fighters was the drummer for Nirvana.
Well, my brother's the drummer for Foo Fighters. He looks fucking way like him anyways. I don't know if you've seen a picture.
Fucking badass.
Have you Taylor Hawkins?
No.
That's the drummer anyways. Sorry, we got off topic there.
Shit.
Let's go right
That's
back
cool.
into it. He looks just like him.
Yo,
Actually,
you should talk to him about fucking Kurt Cobain.
Yeah?
Because the main singer of the Foo Fighters is the drummer of Nirvana, and he branched off
Okay, well that's awesome.
to start the Foo Fighters.
Well, besides Foo Fighting, and I just brought that in because I remember Foo Fighter being
Kung
a
Fu
UFO, a UFO term. UFOs are just identified flying objects. They don't mean aliens. So just because you see like a plethora of these types of videos online, there's no like real proof. Why is it that so many of these UFO videos, and I'm just saying this is what probably a lot of people think. Why is it that so many UFO videos are shit quality?
Right.
Number one. Number two, they don't really give you clear and accurate confirmation of what they're looking at. It's always like a fucking light in the distance that's doing something weird, or like a shape of something, but it's not identifiable.
Right.
So you're in this thing where you're kind of just guessing. And I think a lot of people that have experience with cinema or cameras in general, maybe even photography, know that when you're zooming in on something from afar, a lot of things can look very odd depending on the lighting and the angle and things that you're catching. So why is it that it's so hard to get a clear-cut picture of a alien craft or an alien for that matter?
Right. I think, you know, like the naked eye, like what we actually see
Yes.
is always going to be different than whatever the fuck our phone captures.
Okay.
So in that way, you know, whoever is taking the video is probably seeing in real time, in real life, you know,
Something different than what's
a
on
little
the
bit
tape.
of a more enhanced and you know, clear cut.
You think that's a technology thing? Like whatever they're seeing is not able to be captured properly on
No,
on
I
the
mean,
video?
I have a great phone, man. My phone is amazing. And even now, like when it comes to, you know, for example, the night sky, and that if I see something with my own eye from far away, and I take out my phone and I try to capture it, the moon, for example.
Yeah, sure.
It will never look.
Never do it justice.
It will
you're
never do
saying.
it justice.
Yeah, your human eye can get it better than
Right, exactly. And the reason that these videos come out is because
unless you have a
there's
telephoto super lens.
Yeah, there's some random dude standing in their backyard smoking a doobie with a bunch of friends, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
And you know, they all see something, and they take out a phone, and it will always, you know, result in this
Type of image.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
I have seen some interesting
Keep in mind,
things happen in the sky.
Okay.
With regards to lights.
in Toronto or in Timmins or
Timmins.
yeah.
Yeah, Timmins. I saw a group of 3 lights that were kind of shaped as a triangle. So there was 3 green lights, and they were rotating and they were moving very quickly, especially like to the naked eye. Amy and I actually at the time we were looking at this shit and we were blown away. We were convinced like, yo, this is
Where
something.
were you when you saw it?
I was in basically my backyard at the time. And it was the middle of the day too, which was really weird.
Daytime.
So
you saw green lights in the sky.
Yeah, so we
daytime.
saw something bright in the sky moving.
How long ago was this?
During
like,
the
roughly?
day, probably about 5 years ago.
5 years.
And obviously when you
So
take
drones
your,
weren't
you take
really
your,
like
you take your camera
that popular yet.
No.
It couldn't have been a drone.
But I mean, who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it wasn't.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying you
I
don't,
don't
like
know.
unlikely.
No, unlikely. And the video that we got from it in the end is barely visible.
Oh, so you did try to
I
videotape
tried,
it?
but it doesn't. It doesn't
Didn't do
make
it
any
justice.
sense.
Yeah.
No. And then that's why you have all these people from all around the world capturing these weird, phenomenons happening with their phones, and then they submit these, videos to whatever media outlets or whatever the fuck, and
YouTube.
they're immediately written off as
MUFON.
This is stupid. This is nothing. You're a crazy person if you think this is a UFO, if you think this is an alien or whatever.
Well, you say crazy person, but in actuality, I read some things recently. I don't think they ask this on a census per se, but they claim that as much as 50% of the United States believes in extraterrestrials now, and some kind of cover up. To what extent? Not really sure, but there is a belief that's going around. And I think the majority of the people I ask have belief it. They find it very hard to identify with the concept that we're truly alone, that there's nobody else. We're all there is in this massive expanse.
Compare that
which
number, the 50%.
Yes.
Or the majority of people that you speak to with, I don't know, 100 years ago.
Okay.
And if you ask somebody 100 years ago, do you believe in extraterrestrial?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the mindset?
Good question.
I don't know. I feel like it is something that has been developing and progressing to
Well, I think, if I may, science fiction in general and our technology, which may have come from aliens in the fucking first place, a lot of it.
George Lucas.
Who knows?
Shout out.
But I can tell you this, that I think that in itself has created a vast ability to imagine and think of things that people 100 years ago just couldn't, because none of that type of image was ever placed in their heads. They didn't have the ability to look up shit on a computer. They didn't have the ability to get the information on their cell phones and crap like that, because that shit didn't exist, obviously. So it was a whole different set of circumstances back then. So I don't think anybody, not anybody, but I don't think that there was obviously nearly as many people. But you never know. The government, the people that were in control at the time, and back in even World War I,
they could have been privy.
I don't know. I don't know when aliens came around. There's a good theory that says when we started dropping nuclear bombs, that we caught the attention of our friends from outer space.
Yep.
And they were like, whoa. Wait a sec. The little fuckers are making a mess over here. They're going to screw shit up. Yeah. They're getting dangerous. They're going to kill each other. It's kind of like seeing your kids start to play with fireworks or something dangerous, right?
Wipe out their whole fucking...
Potentially. Yeah. And there was all this talk about, again, this comes from research online.
Or did the nuclear, abilities come from some sort of tech that was not previously?
That's another thing. I don't know. I mean, Einstein kind of looked like an alien. I think Einstein was a genius for sure, but he also was very much involved in the nuclear bomb. I don't know if you're aware of that. But nonetheless, the nuclear bomb supposedly attracts the attention, right? Roswell happens, and I think it was... Offhand, it's the mid-40s.
To some theories.
Josh, you know what year Roswell was?
Not off the top of my head.
No, definitely the 40s.
I thought it was
definitely
50s.
40s
Okay,
for sure, guys.
Let's go with, let's meet in the middle.
I'm going to look it up right now. You keep talking now.
While so check it out. What really sold me, I've always been very much a believer that there's really no possibility that in the universe, in the endless, pool of stars and energy, that for whatever reason, human beings are, our
in 1947, by the way,
our planet is the only one that contains life. But what really fucking, sold me was a series of books called I Am Ra. And it was scientists back in the 50s who went under hypnosis.
Yes.
And they would put one individual under hypnosis. And
it's called I Am Ra?
Yes. And they would become an antenna, essentially. And through that person in hypnosis, they would make contact with an alien species. And they would refer to themselves.
So was it like a channel? Like they were channeling the alien?
Yeah.
So when did that start?
And they did this over 3 years in the 50s.
In the 50s?
Yeah. Long time ago.
Okay.
And the channel, the person that would be under, would eventually kind of sort of become the
Was it Raw, like W?
R-A-W.
R-A-W.
No, R-A. Just
R.A. Raw.
Yeah, just R.A. And the introduction would always be, I am Ra, what's going on? And they would ask a series of questions to this, so-called
being
that is communicating through, whatever. So they asked some pretty fucked up questions when it comes to our history.
Sure.
As human beings, they touched on Hitler, they touched on Jesus Christ, they touched on some of the deep questions and big bold things,
very
big characters in what kind of shaped the history of humanity, and one of them was actually very interesting. So the Ra would sort of present this idea that there is 1, 2, 3, and fourth dimensional and so on beings. And, one being body, so plants, and then 2 being mind, body, being animals, and then 3rd being us as humans, mind, body, soul,
Correct.
And then 4th dimensional beings being mind, body, soul, and love. And they when they were asked about Jesus Christ as, you know, this character in our history, Ra answered, and they said that, yes, no, he was very much a real character, and he did exist, and he was ahead of his time in the sense that he was a fourth dimensional being. So he was able to do and sort of, you know, act in a way that was very incomprehensible to the human beings at the third dimension of that time. So just that in itself, I mean, I recommend everybody to go check it out. It was a very good read. But
well,
you know, the idea of
we covered a lot of ground there very quickly, and I just want to back it up for a second. We're talking about channeling, and for those of you who may not understand channeling in general, what channeling means, I'm not talking about changing the channel on your TV. I'm talking about changing the channel in your brain, where essentially you or the person who is doing the channeling is supposedly entering a state of mind or being where they are allowing another being or essence of a being to enter their own mind and then speak on behalf of that being, even though the physical, it would be like Justin all of a sudden starts to talk as this Ra or another alien or whoever, whatever this being is. And a lot of people argue this sort of channeling to be nothing more than, again, pseudoscience or some kind of make-believe imaginary nonsense. However, there are a lot of individuals out there, I think more now so than ever before, who are claiming that they can do so via states of meditation and whatnot. And although it's extremely hard to prove whether that person is telling the truth, whether right or wrong, this is a phenomenon that exists. It fascinates me because you speak of this thing Ra, and I haven't read much about Ra, so I don't know a whole lot about what you're talking about there, but I can relate to a lot of the newer stuff that's on YouTube now that you can look up. And one of them I find fascinating is Bashar. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bashar.
Nope.
And I would say take a look, listen to him. He's like, Daryl Anka is the channel for Bashar. And there's all these other ones, Hicks and so on and so forth. There's literally no shortage of them now, which is kind of odd that there's a whole bunch of different.
What do they do exactly? Are they also becoming?
They're able to go into a state of mind where they speak on behalf of a being from another galaxy, whether it's the Andromeda galaxy or whether it's the whatever. And they say all kinds of interesting things. You know, you brought up the thing about Jesus. You know, they ask them all kinds of fascinating questions, and they come up with fascinating answers. In some case, seemingly with no processing time. Like it's almost like they're very fast, very good at just like if it is an act or some kind of you know, state of hypnosis, they are just like in the zone, and they're doing a damn good job for people who aren't like trained to go over these questions. And I always found it actually very interesting. At first I kind of laughed at it. The more I watched it, not that I got taken so much as taken in by it, but I did find it to be
K-Pax.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It's like, what's going on here? Let me kind of understand it more before I make a judgment on it. And I think if these people are giving information to people that is not harmful to them, and when I say not harmful, I mean physically, you know, mentally, spiritually harmful. And I don't know how to judge that or gauge that, but I would think most of the time these people are not necessarily dangerous. It only becomes dangerous when you follow something like a cult or religion, where that is like you're just believing in every part of that wholeheartedly, and it's taking you to do something that you probably shouldn't do. I think that that's a little bit risky and dangerous. But if they're giving you information that is potentially helpful to you and into living a happier and better life, I don't really see a problem with it, whether they are an alien or not. Straight up. And that Daryl Anka guy, Bashar, that I reference, he openly says things which are interesting, because I feel like people have really pressured him to be like, prove that you're this fucking alien. You know, stop putting on a show like you're, you know, if you can do this, like prove it.
Teleport.
You know, and he actually, what he says is he says that people can't, in our physical state of being humans, like we cannot handle being in the physical presence of their actual, like the actual presence, like it actually, that it's been tried and it makes us physically ill and sick, or causes like all kinds of electromagnetic problems. Yeah. And some people say, well, how convenient that, you can't see the fucking alien when you want to.
Right.
They're so smart, but they can't fucking give us a way to see them. Real funny. They can get in our brains, right? You know, there's a lot of fascinating questions here to be asked. I think besides the channeling, which is one branch of aliens, I think the other thing is ultimately, if there are aliens that are interacting, do you believe that our government is fully aware and cooperative with aliens, or do you think aliens are just observers?
I do believe that there has been, I think there's been cooperation. I think there's been some sort of agreements made between, if they do exist and they've made themselves known to the leaders. That sounds ridiculous when I say it.
Who are the leaders?
You know, I mean, the leaders, unfortunately, are the Trumps. And
Justin Trudeau?
Justin Trudeau. And yeah, I mean, maybe these motherfuckers, and how? How would, like, aliens even be like, yo, we got to, I mean, I guess they would just know, right? Oh, this is the president. They probably have social media.
Well, I would argue that technology
probably know what's going on.
probably exists. Well, like, let's again, the problem with the topic like this, there's so much information out there. Area 51, right? I mean, I know a lot of people saw Independence Day. They can probably relate to that.
Star Wars, man, Galaxy far,
yeah, but Star Wars doesn't explain aliens. That's just like, you're in another realm. There's all kinds of other planets and other things. Whereas we're on Earth. When did aliens come about and how did they get introduced? Well, you know, here's the 20-second nutshell of that. Area 51, secret military base in the Nevada Groom Lake Desert.
Ship crashed.
You know, it's talked about as being like a military development and research sort of base. It's very secretive. However, Bob Lazar came out, I think it was in the 90s, where the man said there were all kinds of crazy shit happening. You know, that there were crashed craft and that they had analyzed these things. Whether you want to take it back to Roswell, when the first real documented potential alien crashes happened, and you look at, you know, the nonsense that was put out on weather balloons and things like that. But then you actually go back and you read it for yourself. You don't just listen to these things, but actually spend time just for a second listening to interviews from people that were there. There's some like old farmer man I watched on YouTube not that long ago give some big spiel about how all these things and the details this man had. I do not understand what value someone would have putting something like that out there just for absolute nonsense, malarkey. You're just going to make it up for fun. At this point, like, honestly, I don't see the point, but there's this base and it supposedly contains all kinds of alien technology. You know, there's a few whistleblowers here and there. You can check it out and look it up. I think there was a thing where they were going to crash Area 51 for a while. This guy sent out this thing and it became this mass following where the U.S. Air Force was like, do not attempt. They've got signs up that say they fucking shoot to kill if you try to get in there. It's you know, it's very intriguing whenever you have something that's so protected and secretive. People start making up these elaborate kind of cocktails in their mind on what could possibly be happening. And you know what? This is one of my favorite things to share is J.J. Abrams, you know, the director J.J. Abrams. Come on, who doesn't know fucking J.J. Abrams now? Of course, yeah. You know, started with Lost where I fell in love with J.J. But one of the things he did on a TED Talk was he said this. He said, the magic box is the key to his kind of creation. The magic box being, if you as a viewer or the listener don't know what's inside that box, it's much more appealing than if he actually tells you what's in that box. So he likes to create this sort of giving you these details of what could be in the box, but never really showing you. Because if he shows you, the fun is ruined, just like magic almost, right? That's why I say the magic box. If you know the secret, it no longer is entertaining. Whereas if you don't know, it's an endless possibility that you as the viewer fill in your mind was basically his main point. And I've taken that to heart on a lot of these conspiracies where people just run wild with them. Listen, I love listening to them. And I think many of them may very well hold merit. Right. But I do think it's important to not get lost in the fascination of these sorts of topics where they just take you way down the rabbit hole, you know, and you start thinking, you know, David Icke thinks very much so that people are lizard reptilians that want to eat us and stuff. He's dead serious about it, it seems. And I mean, I suppose it's possible, but it's unlikely for me that the lizards are what's happening to our world. But fuck, I don't know. Maybe the lizards brought COVID in. I'm not sure.
Let's take a pause, Josh.
No, that's great.
What if every human being on the fucking planet,
Yes.
to some degree,
Yes.
was a narcissist and was ignorant and was
I think we all are.
self-indulgent? Okay, cool. So you do think
Yes.
that we all are.
We all are, no doubt.
Right. Okay. So in that way,
Yes.
anyone who believes anything that they believe, they have enough justification to believe what they believe. So in that
Have you
way,
seen
we
Gremlins
are
2, the
literally
movie?
divided. We are separated. We are divided. We are living in a world.
Dying. The reason I He's dying. He can't handle it. It's amazing. I've never seen him laugh that hard this whole time. The man wiggled in his chair like he was in the movie Contact. You see when the fucking chair goes sideways? Like, Jodie Fisher or whatever her name is. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, I made this man's night.